Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To my panel, my name is Amma bin Suaini. My metric card is 2018-285-914. Today I would like to present on my research, which is the effect of coach verbal aggression on motivation of the athlete. Okay, for the first section is background of the study. A few studies have produced research on verbal aggressiveness of coach in sport environments in common. Becchiari 2014, Becchiari, Deglidis and Seclerio 2006, Demiox, McKelvey and Stock 2002. The results of previous research have shown that verbal aggressiveness contributes to negative results. Becchiari 2012, Edwards and Myers 2007, Infante, Myers and Burkle 1994, Infante and Renser 1996, Martin and Anderson 1995. Continued verbal aggression against an individual or group of people is probably to be considered as mental assault that in part may contribute to experience helplessness. Infante 1995, Infante and Renser 1996. Weinberg 2003 describes motivation as the intention of behavior which is approach, abandonment or if and the strength of the attempt. Theory of self-determination, Daisy and Ryan 2002, is a very common motivational approach that has been successfully implemented to sports. Frederick and Ryan 1995, Hager and Chetzi Sarantis 2007, Valeran 2001. Okay, so the next one is for statement of problem. Verbal aggression give many negative impact towards athlete associated to state motivation or serve as demotivating factor in the field of education. While Shields, Bradimir, Gardner and Boston 1995 argue that the autocratic coaching style encouraged the adoption of athletic actions, which is cheating and aggressiveness within a team in a sport setting. Okay, next is for my research objective. The first one is to identify the relationship between coach verbal aggressiveness and athletes' motivation of UiTM Seremban 3 athlete. The next one is to determine the effect towards performance of UiTM Seremban 3 athlete based on gender. We move to significance of study. The purpose of this study is to identify the effect towards performance of the athlete based on different gender, and this research seeks to determine strong mechanisms of verbal aggressiveness and motivation and their factors. Okay, for literature review, there are 3 points. The first one is the results of the study reveal that verbal aggressiveness is negatively associated with enjoyment, ability, effort of the athletes and the democratic style of the instructor by Alexandra Becchiari 2014. The second one is it was shown that perceived coaches' verbal aggressiveness would have a negative significant relationship with athletes' intrinsic motivation and identified regulation, but there was a positive significant relationship with external regulation and motivation by Alexandra Becchiari, Perkos Stefanos, Gerelimos Vasilis 2015. And the last one is the findings suggest that coaches who were represented as highly verbally aggressive when interacting with a student athlete lead athletes to experience significantly less motivation and lead them to perceive the coach as significantly less credible by Joseph P. Mazer, Katie Barnes, Alexia Gravios, Caroline Boger 2013. For methodology, the descriptive research design will be used in the study, and the data analysis will be measured based on correlational analysis. This research design had been chosen to align with the research objective, which is to investigate the relationship between coach verbal aggressiveness and athletes' motivation of UiTM Seremban 3 athlete and the effects towards performance of UiTM Seremban 3 athletes based on gender. All of the data is based on the questionnaire that will contribute to the sample. For the sampling, the population of the student athlete in UiTM Seremban 3 is 360 people by Unit Sukan UiTM Seremban 3 2020. According to table Craigie and Morgan 1970, the estimated sample needs to be taken from the total number of population is 186, while 20% sample need to be added in to avoid from unwritten rate or dropout. So the total sample will be taken is 254. For sampling technique, the study will use probability sampling, which is the sample size consists of athletes UiTM Seremban 3. Questionnaire will be used to collect all the data to fulfill the research objective, and simple random sampling methods will be used in this study to find the sample size that will answer the questionnaire. This sampling technique are being chosen because every member of the population has probability of being selected for the sample. Okay, for instrumentation, for the demographic questionnaire, it consists of 4 questions, which is gender, age, marital status, and level education. The questions has been noted as important variables for coach verbal aggressiveness and motivation of athlete at UiTM Seremban 3. Age groups included are less than 20 and 21 to 25. For marital status is classified as single, married, and others, while for education level, the categories included are diploma and degree. Next is the verbal aggressiveness questionnaire by Becchiari, De Glidis, Hatzigeorgiadis, and Seclerio 2005 was used to assess athletes' perceptions regarding coach verbal aggressiveness. The questionnaire comprised 8 items. The example of the questions are insults athletes and makes negative judgment on athletes' ability. The development of the instrument was based on the verbal aggressiveness scale by Infante and Weekly 1986. In particular, the internal consistency of the scale has been supported by Cronbach Alpha, which is 0.97. Participants were asked to respond on a 5-point Likert scale range from 1 to 5, which is 1 for strongly disagree and 5 which is strongly agree. Okay, the last one is for intrinsic and extrinsic motivation scale. This 16-item contextual motivation scale developed initially by Paponio, Milosis, Cosmido, and Siglis 2002. According to Valorant's hierarchical model of motivation by Valorant 1997, the scale is composed of 4 internally consistent factors, which is intrinsic motivation, identified regulation, external regulation, and motivation. The next point is data collection procedure. Okay, for the first one is the researcher will get ethical approval or permission from UiTM, and then the researcher will carry out the pilot study. Then it will refer to the supervisor to proceed the topic of the study, and then distribute questionnaire via Google Form to the respondents. And last one, the researcher will review the questionnaire answered by the respondents and gather all the data for evaluation. For the data analysis will be include the use of the statistical package for social science, which is SPSS 26. Cronbach Alpha reliability analysis will be used to examine the internal consistency of the factors of each questionnaire. The significance will be set as P lower than 0.05, with alpha 0.05, while the pilot study will be conducted to test the reliability of the questionnaire. So this one is the table for my research objective and the data analysis. My research objective is to identify the relationship between coaches' verbal aggressiveness and athletes' motivation of UITM's rheumatic athlete. So the data analysis that the researcher will use is correlation analysis. For the second objective is to determine the effect of performance of UITM's rheumatic athlete based on gender. So the data analysis will be used is descriptive analysis. Okay, the last part is the reference. So these are list of my reference. That's all from me. Thank you, and I hope my panel will understand on my presentation of defense proposal. That's all from me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.